Hey, what's up? It's the Dirty South podcast. It's been a few weeks since before our Florida State tournament, and we're back. Jason, Brant, SE Wrestle, Cabo Wrestling, and we got a special guest here for the beginning of our show. It's newly crowned All-American Christopher Tofi Minto from our wonderful state of Florida, Cape Coral, I believe, right? Did I get that right?
Mariner.
Yeah.
Mariner,
Yes, but he
right?
lives in Cape. He's from Cape
Oh,
Coral,
okay. All right, all right.
from
We
Mariner
want, we
High
want to give
School.
Mariner the props. So that's
Yeah.
where he wrestled.
Right, right. Sorry, Mariner High School. Shout out to Coach Pedersen out there, who obviously has been a huge influence in his life and got me a cell, and we were able to connect. So, man, thanks for coming on, man. I don't even know where to begin. What a weekend it was for you, right, guys?
Yeah, I appreciate you guys having me as well on the show.
I
So
mean,
Christopher, yeah,
I was
go
gonna,
ahead.
I said
Go
we
ahead,
talked.
Brant.
You kind of mentioned it already, but that moment, the electricity in the arena. I was just telling the guys before it started the one time, and I don't know, I'd never cheer when I'm watching anything. It's the media in me, but the one time I screamed this weekend was watching your match against Bear Claw and getting that takedown in. My kids come out of the room like, "What's going on?" Can you just talk about? I mean, you're in the moment, but just what that moment meant, felt like, and when you take it in afterwards, because it was such a huge uh happening that took place.
I think right when I got the win, it was kind of like I think that in my life I had more like exciting wins, or I would say like wins that I was like really pumped for right after, or like you could see in like a celebration. But I think that win, it was like more just like relieved a little bit. Like all the work that you put in is paying off. So yeah, I think just it felt like a little weight off my shoulders of getting that win, and yeah, it was pretty electric in there. I'm just grateful to have all those people around.
Yeah, I
So
was telling them earlier. I was in the room, and I never seen your coach jump so high. I mean, he launched off the floor. It was just insane. I know there was a moment there where it was hard to get that huge moment because there's always a brick or a question, and they were like, "Did he really?" And then it was decided, and it was just awesome. But go ahead, Jason. I'm sorry.
no, I was just, I mean, you guys, Nebraska as a whole seemed like it came in with a bit of a chip on its shoulder, and you guys were out to prove something. And man, at that time, you guys were rolling. Ended up, uh, placing, as a team and so on and so forth. I'm really interested in that. Do you guys? At that tournament, you've got to be so focused on you. Are you really paying attention to how everybody else is doing, or are you so focused on your next match and what you need to do?
I kind of touched on this, and I had an interview there. I think it was by USA Wrestling, and I remember before the Terrell match, and Charlie was up, and he got a win against, I think it was Bianchi in the quarters, the Little Rock kid, and it was a pretty tight match. And so like I'm in the tunnel, and like our fans are actually right above me, just happened to play out like that. That's where I was coming out on the mat, and I was just Snyder was in the tunnel with me, and he was just trying to tell me just not to watch or whatever, but I kept like peeking around. And I think yeah, it's hard to not watch sometimes, but we usually you end up watching, even though you
Yeah.
try not to try to get your emotions right and your excitement and just try to get ready for your match. But I think yeah, I found myself watching teammates a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be really hard not to. I mean,
Yeah,
you're there with them, you care for them.
yeah,
So, but you do understand the mindset because that is a roller coaster if they get a big win or a or they take a tough loss. So,
Well,
yeah,
I think one guy the nation was rooting for was Brock Hardy. I think he's just what he's been through and coming through. And then, of course, the Spladle last year coming back and what a run he made. Unfortunately, he lost it there at the end. But I got to ask, there was a moment, and I'm all the way up in the 200 section up there, but there was a moment where I saw you and your brother come together on the floor. Uh, I think it was around the podium time, around the award time. Um, we all know the influence your brother's been on you, but the the first time you guys kind of came together after you became an All-American, what was that moment like?
It was pretty sick because I mean, he's definitely a role model to me, and he knows that a lot of the work I put in. So he was um, really proud of me, I would say, and it was kind of cool just to have him there as well. Because I don't even know if he was gonna come. I think he figured out like everything that he was able to go like 2 or 3 weeks before. So that was pretty cool to have him there.
And as a consolation prize, you got Messing Brink. What was it like to get into that moment with the Penn State guy in Pennsylvania? And you wrestled him really tough, but man, you kind of how was that moment being able to be in that match with that caliber dude?
I mean, as much as you here try to just treat every match like the same as every other match, it's I mean, we're all human. We our emotions sometimes get the better of us, maybe get more nervous for different matches, but I feel like that whole tournament I kind of did that really well, just like faceless opponents. And I mean, I didn't really think of it any different, if
That's
I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, I know. I was talking to one of the Florida coaches that ran into your brother, and he was, your brother was like, "Man, we'll see what happens. He's got him next." So, uh, but I mean, it seemed like you stayed with him better than anybody else in the tournament. He kind of blew through the rest of the field, right?
Yeah, I mean he definitely put me in my place, but I mean we're both young, and I'm gonna see him a bunch more times, and it's gonna be nice when I get that one back.
You mentioned being young, and I think a big picture, maybe people outside Florida may not even know this, but when you come into the season, you're not supposed to be the starter. How I would think one of the hardest things to do is to work hard behind the scenes. And those are the ones that actually end up succeeding and the ones that are able to be ready. What was the mindset and process like for you to be ready when if your name is called, and then when you get that chance, being able to pounce on it and be ready? What was that process like for you to go through that grind and just try to be, uh, if that moment comes up, be ready for it?
Yeah, so I mean, it's I had it on my tongue. I can't think of what I was gonna say. So yeah, I mean, I feel like I just tried to do everything I could do right. So I mean, we were supposed to kind of have like another wrestle off at the Navy Classic. It was like a tournament we both went to, and he got pretty banged up, and I remember we didn't get to wrestle, and like I saw a lot of people like, why aren't they wrestling or whatever. But I mean, I didn't really focus on that. I knew that I was gonna have my opportunity, and also he was rightfully so pretty banged up. I don't want to wrestle my teammate in a tournament when he's banged up. You know what I mean? So I think that, and a lot of people are like, why didn't they wrestle? Why didn't they wrestle? But I mean, people don't know that stuff. Just kind of sees the winner in the bracket, kind of. But
Well, I think
yeah, that was like one of the moments where I just told myself, just do everything I could do, right? You know what I mean? And I'll get that opportunity.
I think you proved you belong. Going into college, Jason, you have something?
Yeah, well, actually, I was just really curious that you know, for people who wrestle, you wake up the next day and you're like, oh man, I'm like sore and all these sorts of things, banged up and everything else. You wrestled a ton of matches in Philly against the best in the country. Was it any different waking up Sunday than it is any other time as far as kind of how you felt?
Uh, yeah, I wouldn't say I was like crazy sore. My ankle was pretty banged up before previous of the tournament, and that was pretty sore. But other than that, I mean, I think I was just more tired.
Yeah, yeah.
I usually wake up. I feel like I have an internal clock at like 8, and I'm never able to go back to sleep. And I woke up today at like 7:45, and I slept until 10 today. I also it was kind of a miscommunication because I it's 10 here right now.
Right.
It's 10:18.
Oh,
So I was just waking up and I was gonna go on at 11, and I realized it's the time is different here and there.
Yeah, all good. All
Well,
It's
good.
we
my
even
bad.
said when you texted me, we were like, all right, well, we're at your convenience. We can go at the end, whatever you want to do. So it was awesome. But I know, um, like he said, going into college, true freshman, you're not expected to break the lineup. Obviously, you did, and obviously, you proved you belong. You know, the rest is history. But I know college is a totally different level. You know, interviewing kids and seeing people go there. What did it mean to you to have brother or brothers that were able to kind of prepare you for the next level, or kind of give you guidance, or kind of advise you, hey, this is what we need to get better at? You could be a state champion, two, three, four, whatever you want in high school, but in college it's different. We need to work on these things.
Hmm. Yeah, I think having like brothers that did it before, you can kind of learn from uh like their mistakes or what they did right in certain areas in wrestling and just in life too. So I think that helps me a lot because I mean, like just the weight cut this year, or um, just like if I lose in a match or if I win in a match, I can kind of look at my teammates and I can learn from them a lot. So I think just being the youngest of in my family, I was able to learn from people, and I'm always learning from my teammates too. So I think that was a big that's huge in wrestling and just in life.
That's awesome. And I know we have things to get to, but I want to ask you this. I've been to the Hall of Fame every year. I cover the National Wrestling Hall of Fame, and we just had both Pedersen brothers in consecutive years, or 1 year, and then every other year. We just had both Pedersen brothers put in the last 2 or 3 years. What has that family meant to you?
The Pedersens.
Yes, sir.
Oh yeah, I mean he took me and his family when I was young. My brothers, he always took care of them, and I mean he's definitely a huge role model in my life, a mentor that done unimaginable and just great things for me and my family. And I don't know if I really don't think I'd be here without him.
It's awesome. Yeah, he's a raving fan because you see him all the time
Yeah.
posting and putting stuff. And it was great to see the whole family, your whole family, support him last year. And I got to see you guys. It was crazy. It was the Minto brothers and the Basil brothers were all in the same room, and you're looking, going, wow, it's like Florida wrestling at the highest level right there, right?
Yeah, I think every weekend I saw him this year, the first conversation was always about, hey, what's going on in Nebraska? He definitely he keeps me more informed than anything. But yeah, he's definitely proud, and I was glad to be able to talk to him a couple times this year about what was going on.
Yeah, and Brant is already adding on to that great story he wrote about you guys.
Oh yeah, I need to add that epilogue. He's
Now he
now an
needs
All
to add
American.
All-American.
I
It's pretty
mean,
sick.
what is there any ownership to that being a wrestler from Florida? I mean, like a true wrestler from Florida, as you want to say, like you wrestled all your time here, and you know how tough Florida can be. Do you feel any ownership to try and represent the state or represent your area? I mean, does that do you take any thought of that, or is that just something we as people who live here and fans kind of grab onto, or is there kind of part of that pushing you to represent Florida also?
Definitely. I think representing Florida is huge. I mean, we don't get the media coverage, I would say, or like the maybe not the coverage as much as Flow and all those rankings and stuff. Because I mean, in high school, I didn't really get any coverage or anything, but and also I think like a lot of those like top ranked kids in Florida, they always went to like these prep schools
Yeah.
or transferred to other schools. So it was cool just to be able to stay in Florida and stay in my the city, Cape Coral, Fort Myers, and accomplish what I want to accomplish.
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you based on my social media feed, all Florida wrestling was just ecstatic watching this weekend. At one point they were just like 20 to 30 straight posts, just Minto, Minto cheering and all sorts of stuff. So
Yeah, you
everybody
Yeah,
had
here is
that was
faith.
definitely
pretty sick.
got your
Yeah,
our hands on your back too.
it definitely had the state buzzing, right?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
That was good.
Absolutely.
Jason, you want to wrap it up with him?
Yeah, so actually, I want to ask about your match with Ramirez just because he was a Florida kid who ended up going to one of those prep schools and everything else. But you took care of business in that match pretty handily. Um, had you wrestled him previously or in the state or no?
Well, no, we never wrestled in the state, but actually, I went to one of his camps when I was like in a freshman in high school or whatever. I think he might have been maybe like a freshman or sophomore in college.
College,
'Cause I
yeah,
think he gray shirted. I'm pretty
right.
sure. So yeah, that was kind of a first full circle moment a little bit, being able to wrestle him. And I went to his camps when I was younger.
That's wild.
That's
That's
pretty
wild.
cool.
And then my last question is man, Nebraska was awesome this weekend, and you've got some hammers coming back on this team next year. How good is Nebraska GBR, right? Isn't that what you guys
Yeah, go
say?
Big
Go
Red.
Big Red.
Go Big Red, right? How good are you guys going to be next year?
I don't know. We're gonna be great though.
All right.
Yeah, all you heard, Nebraska had the place buzzing because all you heard, like he said, it was all red above the tunnel, and you had this. I could see this older guy in like the second row. He would go Big Red, and then the whole crowd would go Big Red, and there it was just nuts. It was electric when they were wrestling, and it was fun. And man, I'm so lucky to be able to be in the arena when you did that.
Yeah, our
Totally.
fans are awesome.
And it was awesome. And yeah, like I said, to see you and your brother down there connect after you got your award. And, I did want to ask before you left, meeting the president,
hmm
how
That
cool
was
was
that
that
was
moment?
I was kind of surreal a little bit. I mean, you see him everywhere, and I got to shake his hand, which that was pretty cool. It felt like, yeah, it just didn't feel a little real. And Elon Musk was there too, actually.
Oh,
Yeah, I
really?
saw him stand up. He was cheering at the crowd and stuff.
Yeah,
But yeah,
that was pretty
He
sick.
doesn't know any wrestling.
he does.
No, but he posted us. He posted wrestling on his pages, so that was pretty cool.
And of course, Tony Rotundo came out and said, "Hey, my picture got shared by Elon Musk." Um, yeah, and I was on, my dad has a little radio show, but I was on there yesterday and I said, look, whether you like this guy, don't like this guy, for our sport, it was really cool to see him there and to
Oh
see how
yeah,
he treated all you athletes coming off the podium and waiting. And then he was supposed to leave two matches before the end, and he wanted to stay and watch it through. So yeah, it was cool. Coach Pedersen sent me a picture of you and the president. It was pretty cool to see.
Christopher, congratulations
Yes.
on a
Congrats.
great run, man.
I appreciate you guys.
And thanks for
Yeah,
taking
man.
time to chat with us. It means a lot. It's like, man, we get to talk to an All-American. I feel like
Absolutely.
you've raised us up now by speaking to us. So thank you for taking some time to chat, and we're gonna continue cheering pretty hard for you.
Thank you guys. I appreciate you guys having me as well.
You
All
two
right,
have a
you
great
take care,
day.
man.
Stay away from the tornadoes.
Hurricanes are worse.
Hurricanes are worse. Yeah, so you
I'll
know how to
see.
handle those.
See you, man.
I'll see you guys. Thank you.
All right, buddy, take care. Well, that was an awesome surprise for us to
Yeah.
get a hold of Tofi and
See,
have.
so anybody's complaining that we haven't been on for 3 weeks or 4 weeks, whatever it is, there's our apology. There's our gift to you.
There you go, man.
Was that organic?
Oh man, that was awesome. He's truly a hammer. And the thing that always stands out to me is that, you know, I wish I could figure it out what it is. I mean, there are extremely talented individuals who leave as high schoolers and don't ever end up being that level.
Yep.
There are others that they go on and I mean, he was an extremely talented high schooler and he's now an All-American. But there are kids who are really good in high school, but then end up excelling in college. And it seems to me that he's got something going that works for him, and maybe he's in the right culture and in the right place, and they're able to bring that out because except for his match with Messenbrink, he's there. He's there with everyone.
I mean, I think the
He
biggest,
kind of all shucked it, but that's a hard thing to do, to go to college, not be the man after you've been the man, and balance all of the things and get yourself ready for when you have a chance to do it. And I know that he just said he worked hard, but that's a hard thing to do. And to me,
It is a hard thing to
that's
do.
one of the best parts of the story that I think get lost sometimes, is he just waited for his chance. Wally Pipp took the day off, and I know it was an injury and all that stuff. I mean, but he was there ready to come in and then owned the spot from that point on. And then you saw what he did to grow with it, and his success throughout the season as he kept shocking people. More people got to know him, and then of course, his big performance in Philadelphia. But that comes back to the year and a half he spent getting ready to be available and be his top wrestling self when that opportunity came. And that is not an easy thing to do, especially if you think about someone who was the man, 3 years
and you,
untouchable.
Brand, who's covered sports your whole life, not just
Yes.
wrestling, but other sports. What do the coaches say? That they say we just make yourself available.
Yes. Be ready.
Be ready, be available. And that's cool. I mean, I think the most important question out of this, Brant, is Tofi on Jason's 25 for 25 now? All American.
That's a great question.
Dude, you suck. We put that to bed a long time ago.
Yes.
We do not need to bring that up ever again.
By the way,
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt your eating.
Yeah, he's finishing up that Ritz cracker in his coffee.
I was choking, but somebody we need to get on at some point, and just shout out to him as well at the D3 level is Christopher Guzman over at North Central, who I got to go take pictures of at the D3 championships. He just became a 3-time All-American at the D3 level, which if you've been around, that's not easy to do. And 2-time national finalist. So congratulations to Chris Guzman, North Central, and obviously the Guzman family. Great people.
Yeah.
3-time All-American now. That's awesome.
And since this is the Dirty South podcast, I do want to give a shout out to the 3 Georgians that made the podium, and Jackson Smith, Caleb Henson, who lost in the finals to Rich Lovett, and to Maddie Singleton. Really, really great runs. Jackson Smith finally broke through. It was so awesome to watch.
What a moment when he makes the podium. You can just see it just in his face when he's coming off the mat.
Yeah, because we were all texting each other.
Yeah, we were all watching. We were texting.
Yeah.
Our group text, which was on an unsecure line.
That's right, on Signal.
We weren't on Signal, but yeah, we were sharing our thoughts throughout the tournament, and alerting each other when someone was up that we needed to watch.
Yeah, no, Jackson's so awesome, and I don't know about Caleb or Maddie, but I'm sure if we reached out to Jackson, he would totally jump on with us and talk about that moment and everything else as well.
Caleb and Maddie, come on, it's pretty cool. I was looking back at pictures. I think I sent one to you that had Caleb, the Crooks, and Maddie all in the same picture at the Christmas knockout, and all 4 of them were just kicking people's ass back then too.
Well, and I think there's actually another picture that was taken that has Jackson Smith and a couple others in there as well. So, I mean, man, that is some good stuff.
That was awesome. Well, I know we haven't been here in a while. I mean, before we get into
nothing's happened since we were
NHSCAs or anything, did you guys want to put a bow on the state tournament? Did you have anything you wanted to discuss there? Do you want to get right into NCAAs? Do you want to go right to NHSCA?
I think Brant, can you give us like 1 or 2 takeaways from the state tournament? I really am sad that we weren't able to do kind of a show afterwards. I had my daughter got married, so I was going one place, Dan was going another place, and we were all kind of all over the place. But
Brant was playing lacrosse.
It seemed like it was a great event. So
yeah, congrats. I didn't realize that's where you were. I saw pictures, but I just thought you were just visiting it. Wow, congrats to your daughter and to your family. Wow, it seems like the state tournament was like 3 months ago now. I mean, obviously things that stand out. You got to give props to the teams that won. I mean, I guess the main storyline coming into the finals was Somerset and Jesuit, and Somerset needed to win 4 or 5 finals. They needed a little bit of help from guys that used to wrestle at Somerset. Um, you have Austin, who looked like he was going to get beat in the quarters. I was watching the match, and then he comes through in the final, wins another state title, helps out Somerset, his former team. Christian Fretwell gets a win at 132 for Lake Gibson. He wrestled at Somerset, and then Somerset came through and won a 2A title. I remember, I probably don't want these group text kind of released, but we had some livelier discussions in the beginning about Somerset, and I think we were all. I mean, you picked them, so you get credit for that. I picked them in the beginning of the year, and then had moved them out my top spot. But moving up to 2A, whether or not they could compete up there, and man, they just came through in that finals, and they kind of when I talked to Joe, I was like, you guys kind of remind me of South Dade, because they had like those South Dade moments. They came up big, and that was the other thing that stood out to me, was talking to Vic on Thursday before it started, and Vic doesn't usually not exude confidence. And I don't want to say he thought they were going to lose, but he was just frustrated. He's like, man, my team's flaky. I don't know what I'm going to get when I go out there. And the first day, you just kind of see him kind of trudging. The 3A finals look like a dual meet. They had 8 guys in the finals, 7 guys in the finals, guys that you didn't expect to go to the finals, guys that had lost to guys stepping up. And that was kind of like, you expect that from South Dade. And to me, that was what Somerset did, to come through and win the team title like they did.
And I think from day one, he said if the Sains boys can stay healthy and
Yeah.
get through the year and do what they did, then he
Mhm.
definitely would be there at
But
the
they
top.
won toss up matches. They won matches that they lost during the season. It was a big performance from them. And then we also have to, congratulate Matter Lake's tremendous performance. I mean,
Mhm.
even better than I expected them to end up doing, just especially in those smaller weights. And then Flagler Palm Coast, which I thought all year was going to win it, and their big guns came through and they won a team title.
Yeah, and of course, obviously number 27 for South Dade. It's pretty damn good. Yeah, I mean, just some things that I remember. Obviously, we had four timers come out of this
Yes.
tournament. One was Maya Bethel from North Miami to be the first ever four timer based on the state being sanctioned, right? We understand there's girls back in the days that have won 4 of these.
And
Three,
second wrestler all time to not lose in her 4 years of high school, joining Jason Robbins.
yeah, but as far as since the girl's been sanctioned, she's there, and man, she's absolutely special.
My favorite thing, well, I talked to her after. I still haven't written my fourth timer story. She said that, as you guys know, she was on volleyball, but I said, are you glad that you had moved from volleyball to wrestling? She goes, yeah, but I wish I'd known about cutting weight or about weight stuff. But my favorite post of hers was the day or two after a tournament on Instagram. She posted something like, all right, ladies, the weight class is yours again, because she won all 4 titles at 155. And I thought that was just that was just a real slick way. Like, all right, I'm done with this weight class. You guys can have it now, because she had dominated the 4 years that it had been around.
And then obviously on the boys' side with Nolan Brady and DeJanaro capping off their high school careers with 4. And man, do those guys know how to wrestle at Silver Spurs? I mean, when they get into Silver Spurs, those 3 don't miss, huh?
Well, I mean, and that was the other main story, I think, from those was Nolan lost in the region finals to
Right.
Bacon, Asher Bacon, who was a state champ already. And was able to, I talked to him. Hopefully someday I'll get to writing this stuff. And he just kind of took that loss and kind of uh, put it in his head and figured out what he needed to work on, and it kind of motivated him. And like you said, you get out in that stage, and he was able to come through. Sebastian and Max, we knew those were going to be wins, but they made it a joy to watch them and get a chance to see them wrestle again. And Sebastian, while he had losses in his high school career, he didn't lose to anybody in Florida. in his 4 years. I think that's a pretty special note to go by too.
I said, I've never seen him lose to anybody not named Mills.
He's got a few.
He's got some other
He's
losses,
got
but
some few
yeah.
like
I
Iron
mean,
Man
I've
and
seen him
stuff,
at
but
Fargo,
yeah,
but here in Florida, the
yeah.
only person that I've ever seen come into this state and give him fits was him. And but
Funny
yeah,
story about him because I don't follow youth enough, and before his season as a freshman, I think I had him ranked pretty high going into the season, like maybe 3 or 4, and Duck wrote me. He goes, "I'm just gonna tell you, you need to put Sebastian one. He's gonna be really special." And so I inched him up because when Duck tells you something, you listen, and boy, was he sure right on that. He was really special.
No
yeah.
doubt.
And how about a kid that, I mean, I believe he was with coach there at Jensen Beach in their club since he was
Yeah,
5, 6, 8, 9. I don't know.
beach built for sure.
He's built for
That's
sure.
cool. That's
But
cool.
yeah, those are kind of things that another thing that and the only reason I have notes on this is, and I know it maybe small to some, but it's big to them, is, Dante down at Coral Shores has been trying to, working on building that program back up. And he brought 3 state qualifiers there, and that's the best that school has ever done, getting 3 qualifiers to the state tournament. So while we're not talking about state players and state champs, it's still a cool thing to accomplish. And they have a 9th grader down there who you all know his name, Gavin Matthias, who was injured this year. And
Yep.
that kid coming into the season was for sure, if he stays healthy, he's on the podium, maybe on the top of it, right? So, I think we'll see him back next year healthy, and they'll make some more noise. But shout out to Dante down there and what he's doing.
So many great stories like that. And also,
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone's ever seen me. I don't need food. So, when you're at a tournament, you don't need to throw food down to where I'm sitting.
You didn't.
We laugh at it, but like
You
2
must
days,
not have
That's
I-
ridiculous.
I upset somebody because for 2 different
Yeah.
days, my daughter and I were pelted with food while we sat
That
on
is just
Media
ridiculous.
Row.
That's great. I remember several times.
And shoot
looking
up
at me
food,
going,
like bites taken out of food and then thrown down
I
at
just
us.
got hit with an eaten strawberry, Dan. I'm like,
Yeah,
yeah.
bounce off my hand.
Yep.
We came back another time. We had like 8 chicken nuggets spread around. I mean, those are expensive. First off, I don't know if you venture up into the heart of the arena, those chicken nuggets are not cheap. And
Like
so
$18.
whoever took out a loan and bought some chicken nuggets and then threw them at me, hey, I
Well,
must have really made you mad.
That'll show you, Brant, for not treating my child. I'm going to hit you with a chicken nugget.
I would have loved to have known who did it, but
Well, I actually enjoy the family members and the people and the kids that come up to us.
Oh, it's great. It's so much
And
fun.
like, not food or being ignorant, but the parents that actually come up classy and bust our chops and do it in a fun way. And the best is I saw RJ Phelan out in the hallway, and I go, "Hey man, you know what and I said something to him. I go, "Man, you know what stinks?" And he goes, "What? That you were wrong?" And I was like, "Oh, hey."
Oh yeah, I love people telling me I'm wrong. I got this is the second year I got to share the weekend with my daughter, who will not be able to go next year most likely because she's just moved to varsity in lacrosse. But she was able to spend the weekend, help me take much better pictures than I ever could, and she gets a kick out of everyone coming up and telling me all of the ways her dad was wrong. So she's like, "Wow,
Yeah,
you
we
got a
missed
lot
you.
wrong, Dad."
We definitely missed you, Jason. It wasn't the
Yes.
same without you.
Yeah.
We wish you were in the building, but you look like you got a nice haircut. You've lost some weight. You've got a nice little beard trim there. You're looking good. You're like back ready to move
And I
forward.
can check out again. Hold on, let me.
But, man, some
It
cool
got awkward
moments. I
again.
mean, yeah.
For those who don't know, I get on the call and I'm about 15 seconds later because I take forever to hit my buttons. And Dan's like, "Man, every time I go somewhere, you're there with me. And we go all over the country together, and you're just always by my
Ew.
side." And I was like, "Whoa, hold on."
And lately he's had some excuse like my daughter's getting married. I
Yeah,
tore my
it's
knee. I mean,
always that.
these are terrible excuses, right? And then and we missed out on that stuff. But
But it was fun. It
yeah,
was a
I mean,
great weekend. Kudos to the folks running it. I don't know if you realize this, Dan, and I'm sure you did because we hung out, but we left on Friday with like hours of daylight left. Like I saw
yeah,
the sun for like 2 hours on Friday. It was just they made some good choices on speeding things up and without I think without compromising good action. But being able to get out of there earlier on Friday was nice.
it was really
Great
fun.
choice.
Obviously, shout out to the kids that made it on the podium, to the kids that made it on the top. I mean, it was nice to see Camden Elliott break through, right? And finally get that one. It was cool to see a young man, Raymond Shaw. It was cool to see, you saw.
Stop, Dan. Stop, Dan. You,
Yeah.
you just gonna go down the list.
There's
Anyway,
there's
congratulations,
56 people
everybody.
that tore into my heart when
Dan's got his list. He's just gonna read them out to you.
hey,
No, but
Congratulations.
you're right. I mean,
every girl that won, my daughter cried, just so you know. She just gets so emotional watching the girls win.
Yeah.
there are so many stories. Honestly,
So many.
we could band together and actually work full time and still like not be able to cover everything that was going on. Um, so we finish the last folk style tournament, big
Yes.
folk style tournament of the season, basically. And the way I think of the season, because we transitioned over to hand locking season, which is always fun.
Yeah.
But a bunch of individuals are headed to Virginia Beach and going to take their shot at trying to win a national title. Before we get to it, so for those of you that don't know, NHSCA's it's broken down into seniors, juniors,
On the boy side.
sophomores, on the boys' side, freshmen, and then the girls are all a single one. Yes. Um, so it's pretty interesting to kind of watch the juniors battle the juniors, the sophomores battle the sophomores. Typically, sophomores and juniors are the
Yeah.
classes to watch. Freshmen are a lot of fun, but as you can see, we were sharing the information back and forth, and I'm gonna make some posts on this. The freshmen have like 172, 106 pounders,
Yeah.
and the heavyweights have like 18. I mean,
They're all from New York.
yes. So, you get that thing happen in the freshmen, and the seniors are typically seniors who kind of still have a chip on their shoulder. They're
Yeah.
still ready to wrestle. They want to change their, maybe their offer. They want to kind of go out with a bang. They want to go win a national title. They haven't done so before. All these different things. I think I could be wrong, Dan, but you mentioned Christian Guzman just a little bit ago, and I believe Christian came and wrestled and made the finals his senior year back in the day. So, and that's the kind of level that you're talking about. NHSCA has, we were talking about Maddie Singleton. Maddie Singleton has won one or two. Caleb Henson has wrestled. I don't know. I assume Minto has wrestled in NHSCA's.
Yeah, I don't remember.
So, there's the level of competition is super, super good. And it's going to be a fun weekend up in Virginia.
Yeah.
Are you going?
I am not.
No. I know sometimes you go, don't you? Or is it Super 32?
I have been to both of those, but most of the time I go to Super 32. NHSCA's is um it's a little chaotic. At least at Super 32, I know exactly where I need to be and exactly kind of how to position myself.
Yeah, they
So
just kind of go crazy at NH. Just watching it on
it is
the video
it's a
screens,
circus.
it's insane. Just
I mean, honestly, Fargo's a circus too, but I mean, we have figured that out as well. So anyway, I know you guys looked through it real quick. Is there any names that kind of pop out? Anything that you might be looking forward to?
Well, I think you mentioned one yesterday when we were talking about Mills and Elliott being in the same weight class. I think that's
Hmm.
intriguing. I'd love to see those two girls wrestle. I love them both dearly, and I love to see how that would come out, right? Um,
Yeah.
and then another one that I've been wanting to see, a few years back, uh, when Jace was in high school, he and Max would wrestle, and I think both of them have jumped levels. Jace has gone on to do big things on the prep side, and they're 1 and 2 seed in their weight class, and I would love to see that matchup if they both do their jobs and get to the finals. Um, that's a matchup that intrigues me too.
Yeah, I agree with you. That is the actual that's the match. If I were I'm still thinking about doing Southeast rankings and those sorts of things. Those would be two kids at 138 pounds, along with EJ Solis, that I would be like, okay, where do they kind of stand? I don't know who's one and who's two. Maybe the two of them will face one another. I'll tell you what, that bracket right there. You also look at Will Anderson from Alabama, absolutely a hammer. Richie Clemente from Louisiana, who is the sixth pre-seed, he is a hammer. Clemente won 3 or 4 Louisiana state titles. His dad used to be a MMA fighter, pro MMA fighter, back in the day. So, yeah, that weight class is going to be fantastic if it holds together, right? Because this is just
Yeah.
registration.
Yeah, I
Right,
mean,
yeah.
and there you can change weights when you get there. Some don't show up, and yeah, I mean, as you know, I'm Florida focused solely. There are I counted 321 wrestlers from Florida in the 6 classifications, and along with those in the seniors, obviously Max and Jace was one that stuck out, but
Hmm.
you have like Willie White heading up there, South Day, and just it's such a tremendous year. Get a chance to see him and where he can rank on a national level and maybe get some notice and some recognition he deserves. Eric Hodge, uh, fantastic state tournament for him. He gets to go up there and wrestle. A guy that we only saw, you know, 1 year and sprinkle of time, Jonathan Klohecki, who wrestled at the Villages, who just dominated through the Florida State tournament, 2-time New York State placer. Curious just to see, how he matches up. Alex Smith, Myron Mendez. Those are the ones that stood out in the seniors. There's so many more down the line.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, juniors and sophomores and freshmen.
all the things, but then and then on the girls' side, a chance to see Christina Borgman, see what Nina can do, like on that big level. Feel like she should be better respected as she is. Wherever she's respected, it's not enough. Willow White going to get a chance to see her compete against some of the great ones up there. And thank you to Willow for wearing a Cabo wrestling shirt at the state final. So it's so cool. We're walking through, my daughter and I are like walking through, and she's taking pictures of people warming up, and she looks, look, Dad. I'm like, oh yeah, that shirt looks pretty cool. I'm like, oh wait, that's my shirt. She bought a Cabo wrestling shirt. So thanks for
Yeah,
wearing it and letting us take a picture in it, and we'll always cheer harder for you. A chance for to see Kendall Bibla wrestle again, and a chance on that level to kind of prove herself. And I'm just looking throughout the list. There's just little stories like that, people that we know, more of their stories of, and a chance to see how they perform on the national level. And of course, I'll be watching any Florida matches since I've already started my rankings for
well,
next
and
season.
I think something that our buddy at Mater Lakes threw kind of a spoke. He
Matter Lakes.
Mater Lakes, and he took out Chavez in the semifinals, right, of the state tournament, and ended up wrestling Mako. But the
Oh, that's
match,
true. That freshman.
the matchup that we were looking, some people were looking forward to was Mako Chavez. They're 1 and 2 seed at freshman 195, and we might get our wish there.
Yeah,
Um,
no, and I mean, honestly, not just two of the best freshman 195s around,
Yeah.
two of the best 195s around. I mean, those
yeah,
two kids are studs.
very good. One kid that I want to see, I know, uh, his junior 182 is Ray Shaw. He's not in the pre-seeds. He just mowed through our state tournament, and he had a great year. And I really am looking forward. I was talking with his coach this morning, and I'm really looking forward to see what he can do against the nation. Right, last year he was a blood round kid on Greco and freestyle in Fargo, and it'll be interesting to see what he does.
I feel like you keep bringing him up just to rub in that I didn't pick him, and you did. Like I just feel like that's like you're salting a wound here because you picked him and I didn't to win. And then he went out there and proved me very wrong.
Well,
Very
Is there
wrong.
anything wrong with that, Brent?
No, not at all. I
Okay,
appreciate
all
it.
right. I mean, if the wound is fresh, you might as well poke it, right?
Yes. I mean, we
To be
can.
honest, I wouldn't remembered I didn't pick him, but Dan reminded me every break at the state tournament
Hey,
that I
that's
had
the
gotten
guy
that
that you
one
didn't
wrong.
pick right there. Yeah, he just won.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
we go off for wings Friday night, and the Jenkins folks are there, and he's like, "Hey, that's the guy I didn't pick your guy."
Well, the wings were good.
They were fantastic. Thank you for this.
Yes. Uh, but yeah, that's a kid that I would love to see what can he do on the national level with this type of competition. So I'm interested.
Yeah,
And what's out to you? I mean, as far as the whole Southeast, obviously, Ryder Wilder's in this thing and the Mills are in this.
yeah,
You've
yeah.
got
So I one I want to say, okay, pre-seeds are pre-seeds. I mean,
Yeah,
if you see them, especially the girls, they're not
they're
they're
not
not
very good.
good. The pre-seeds are not very good on the girls' side. I'm gonna go ahead and go to 126, and you got Evelyn Holmes Smith, who's absolutely great out of Alabama. Christina Borgman's third or fourth out of Florida. You got Artemis Eaton from Georgia, who's eight. Kelsey Hill from Alabama is seventh. It's a good weight class. It's gonna be a really, really good weight class. Um, but I can't remember if Borgman beat Holmes Smith in the finals of the knockout, or Holmes Smith lost to someone else in the finals of the knockout. But some of that kind of, there's just information that I think we know that you would kind of maybe put those in a little bit different of an order. Vera Spencer, I think, was a three-time Georgia State champ. She's ranked or preceded number 10 at 120. So I'm really kind of surprised by some of those things. But I don't want to belabor the whole precedes because you know what? Honestly, they'll change. They could change dramatically based upon people don't show up, new people weigh in, so on and so forth. Um, but one of the ones that I want to go to is the juniors, and that is we have an opportunity at 120 pounds to see Antonio Mills and JoJo Urachuk once again.
ooh.
Yeah, from Florida, we're talking about Paradon and Brady, we're talking about Chavis and Mako, we've thrown out Ryder Wilder's name, we've thrown out about a few other names, and there's a lot of really, really good kids and everything else. Mills and Urachuk have gone back and forth with one another I mean, I remember them wrestling in freestyle last year. They're both super, super talented. And that is a match. I think they wrestled at Elite Eight, in folk style. If you get a chance to watch that match, Junior 120, that is definitely one to watch. And then I'm going to go ahead and tip the cap and say, there's a lot of Florida kids, but there's also a lot of Lake Highland Prep Florida kids
Yes.
throughout these pre-seeds and on this list. Zeno Moore comes in as a one seed. Lucas Bowe comes in as a one seed. Charlie DeSena is in the same weight as Zeno according to the registration. You got Liam Davis. You got Idias Ortiz, who I think is the 4 seed. So Lake Highland Prep. Alex Smith, I think, is a 1 seed. You got Lake Highland Prep all over this registration.
And
Yeah.
just to clear, so since you brought up Evelyn Holmes Smith actually wrestled 135 at knockout, lost in the final to I know I'm going to say it wrong, Marigana Lau.
Yeah. Okay.
And then Nina wrestled at 130 and won everything either with a fall in the first minute or by tech.
I didn't think they wrestled, but I knew they were really close at the same weight or very close to the same weight. But I'm not saying that that's necessarily the one weight class that I would say is the precedes are wrong. Actually, I could point to so many others where I'm like, I don't understand the precedes. But I'll tell you, I mean, on the boys' side, mostly right. I mean, I think there's a lot of really, really good wrestlers. And
Another Southeast 1 and 2 is Taquavius and Tanner.
Yep, down at 106 pounds.
Two studs in the Southeast, and
I think Tanner was a Fargo finalist 2 years ago. Didn't you get a picture of him or 3 years ago?
Yes.
And obviously, Taquavius Mills headed to Missouri. Yeah, no, it's going to be a good weekend, and it's a really great opportunity for a lot of wrestlers to kind of make their mark. I mean, I get asked about, recruiting. I don't understand why my kid's a three-time state champion. Why isn't he getting recruited? Or, all these sorts of things, and everything else. You have to get outside your backyard. I
Yep.
mean, you just are not going to get on the radar of most D1 college coaches by winning state titles. You go win an NHSCA title against a New York State champion. Okay, well now people are paying attention. Or you go to Fargo and you make the podium, now people are paying attention. But you have to get out and compete at that level.
And speaking of Lake Highland Prep, I know, 107, as far as Florida's concerned, we're interested in seeing Mills and Elliott. There's a young lady from Lake Highland Prep that's really good, Maya Alvarado.
Yep.
And she is definitely good enough to win that thing. And I think she's somebody to watch there too. What a bracket that's going to be.
Yeah,
And
I
it's
just don't
and
understand how Camden Elliott's not even
I'm not
seeded,
even
not
right.
even pre-seeded.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense at all. But it is what it is. That she's probably home just licking her chops, saying thank you.
I want to make a shirt that has a seed that's all mad and it says I'm the bad seed.
You just gave someone an idea. It'll be out tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah. And listen, because it's high school on the girls' side, there's a lot of Florida Hammers that aren't in this thing, and because we have a lot of young ladies that were at the state tournament that placed that aren't there.
Aren't quite in ninth grade.
Nope.
Well, yeah. Or, some have already shifted their focus on the freestyle too. So,
I mean, you can go through and there's a trend if you watch if you look at states, you can see which schools take this serious and send a lot up, and then some schools have one or two there that are probably going up on their own. There are some schools that are already in the next season, and they're already doing freestyle and stuff in practice. But it's curious, like when you go through as all of them, like I did, every single one. There's a lot of repeat school names because there's just
yeah.
certain ones that take it and some that aren't up there. That you might like to see some more of their kids up there, but they are doing something different, and that's the way they do their schedule. But it is interesting to see.
I'll tell you, like you want to know. I mean, Florida's girls have been absolutely unbelievable and Fargo. They're making ground on the top states around, and I know this is folk style, so this is different. As far as some don't wrestle folk style, they immediately transition to freestyle, and I totally get that. But just look at the numbers of girls that are going from Florida that are going to Virginia this weekend. There are 63 girls from the state of Florida
Yeah.
who are going, 20 more than the next closest state, which is North Carolina, and more than double nearly everybody else. And to be fair,
And they're state champ girls and they're state place girl.
right.
Like it's top of the line girls going up there too, which is good to see.
Well, and to be fair, I mean, California is bringing 36. That's a long way to go
That is.
for all those girls for the state of California. So what the level of competition is from the
As we know, it's a lot closer for California to get to Fargo
Yes.
because they bring like 467 to Fargo.
Well, and the other difference is that that's a Team California event as opposed to an NHSCA get there on your own type of event.
Yeah, yeah, because we see the numbers, and obviously they do a great job. Shout out to them, but a school that's,
I love that. Oh yeah, obviously did a good job. Shout out to them.
yeah, I mean they win Fargo every year.
No, I know. It was.
But Gulf Breeze is bringing a lot of kids, boys and
there.
what
I mean, yeah. I mean, Gulf Breeze, Southwest Miami. Hernando, I saw a lot. Zephyr Hills Christian, I saw a lot of. Doral. I mean, just going through. There's teams that are just taking a ton of kids, and it's a great experience for some of them. I have to look up their name because they didn't go far, and they get to go up here and experience this and get better. Um, Somerset sending some, Palmetto, Cardinal Gibbons sending a ton of kids, Cocoa Beach, Merritt Island. And there's so many teams that are using this as part of their plan to get better for next season, and it's cool to see.
Yeah.
And I'm going to try to be watching as many screens as I can, just like I did for
No way, man.
NCAA.
Yeah, that's 8 screens. This one's
This
like
is like
what,
30.
42 screens?
Yeah, I'm excited to see Myron Mendez go out there at 220. Man, he's a good wrestler, and I'm excited to see what he does there.
You know, I've been watching NHSCAs for a number of years, and while there are fewer seniors, as there always are, there's
Right.
fewer registered seniors than there are in a
Than
lot
any
of,
other
like, say, at
grade,
Super 32
right.
or something along those lines. The top level of the brackets, if you just simply look at the number 1 seeds all the way down, they are some talented. Dorian Alvarez, Olivares from Texas at 145. I think he beat Logan Paradise a little while ago. So, I mean, you just look at the level of competition at 160 with Chase Van Hoven from Virginia and Adrian Palat from Indiana. These are names that you know. So, um, it's it may be not as deep necessarily as what you see with the juniors and sophomores, which is typical. Um, but the level of competition of the top level kids, and go check out those seniors and watch them
Yeah.
wrestle because it's gonna be
I
fun.
mean, look at all the South kids in that 160 preseason.
Yeah.
Wow, North
Well,
Carolina.
and number 12 is Brady Campbell, I think a 3-timer from the state of Alabama, who's a 12 seed. You know,
Yeah, and
you,
number 7 is some guy named Willie White.
yeah. Frankie Florio is at 9. DeMarcus Poe's. I mean, if you know the Poe name out of Alabama, he's 6. Anton Glasgow's 5 out of Georgia. JT Bowers, who won 3 Georgia State titles, and I think placed 3rd at the knockout this past year, is 3rd. So, I mean, it's going to be a lot of fun. It's a really good tournament. So
Starts
best of luck
Friday
to everybody.
morning and then just goes crazy Friday and Saturday. And then if you're following along at home,
That's in the
Sunday
afternoon.
morning placing matches, and then they do the finals.
Yep.
And there's a middle school tournament in there too.
Yep.
Yes, and Florida's got a bunch of
Yes, they do.
little dudes there too. And
All right, guys.
Yes.
I assume we're coming back together next week. We'll talk a little bit of NHSCAs or something.
Yeah.
yeah, put a bow on it. But man, just what a few weeks it's been. I going to D2s and D1s. It was really
D3.
cool.
D3.
D3, I'm sorry.
You need to go to D2.
D1.
Yeah.
I tell you what, obviously D1s are electric and it's filled with fans, right? Like most of the arena's fans, right? There's parents
It's all high school wrestling coaches from across the country wearing high school wrestling shirts and getting back together for the weekend. That's what I assume, because that's all the pictures.
So
And it's great. It's
But
wonderful.
when you go to the D3s, it is just cool. Like you're down on the floor,
Organic.
right on top of you. It's organic. And all the teams bring their teams with them, right? Not they have the qualifiers, but they have in the stands, you have the yellow shirts, red shirt, they're all wearing
Yeah.
the gear. And they move around the stadium in groups depending on what mat the kid's at,
Yeah.
right? And then it's eruption while their kids are, it's like being at a soccer game. The two sides are going at it, right?
That's totally cool. I would love to see that.
Yes.
You're right though, because and Brant, you're right. I remember getting on the tram in Kansas City, and I walk up, and next thing you know, I'm like Goog's standing right there, and I talk to him, and we get on the thing, and next thing you know, I'm standing right next to Coach Hauser with his like cowboy boots on, and I hadn't seen Coach Hauser from Edgewater in, like, I don't know, 25
Yeah.
years. So it is that sort of thing. But Dan, the D3 environment, I mean, I saw the D3 duel between what, Augsburg and I'm trying to think of the other Berg that there was
Wartburg?
an unbelievable duel. I imagine D3 Nationals is just that wild. I bet you it's
Well,
so awesome.
and then you had a team that placed there that messed up the reign or tied, but you had a new team that's a champion there.
Yeah,
After
so
what, like
the
since like
energy
the
for
'90s, it's
the
been the same two teams that have
Yep.
shared titles there. Now you have a
the
third one
energy for
sharing
the
with one of
final
them.
match was like nothing.
Yeah,
I mean, obviously we saw the energy and the eruption for Wyatt Hendricks win, but the two 125 pounders that wrestled in the finals, they would, besides there's a kid at 190, I believe it is, who they've said is pound for pound the top kid in the country. He was going to wrestle for Wisconsin. Um, Other than that, these two 125 pounders are probably pound for pound the best in the country. And they came together to meet for the third straight year in the second straight year in the finals. And the one kid is from Rhode Island. So we're in his home. So they left it for the grand finale. It was the final match. So the energy in the
and their
room
team race was still on the line.
and the team race online. So
Yeah,
it was just, it was electric. And
That's totally cool, man. I think it's awesome.
yeah.
yeah, it was really, really fun. And to see the level of wrestling and obviously the
And your
emotion.
seats were better there.
My seats were better there. Yes, I was right on the stage, but of course, I got to hear um, very clear stalling, 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 like right over your head because right when the match starts, all the fans are yelling that right off the rip. It's like they haven't even wrestled yet. Stalling, stalling, and yeah, so the influence was there, but it
That's
was
cool,
really,
man.
really cool to experience that. And I hope North Central gives me the opportunity next year to go. It's in Iowa next year, so hopefully I can do that again.
Dan, thanks for reaching out to Christopher Minto. It was
Yeah, it was
awesome to
awesome.
have a conversation with him.
Yeah, very cool. I'll have to clip that and put it on Instagram and stuff and do things with that. So that'll be awesome.
All right, man.
Yep. All right, guys, enjoy the week.
Take care.
See you later.